Right, so hello viewers and welcome to Gear City. I'm your host PP2Chu and today we're starting a mini Let's Play of sorts, really just to sort of check out this game and explore really what it has to offer. And I say a mini Let's Play mainly due to the fact that, as some of you guys may have noticed, Gear City here is a automobile sort of tycoon game that's on Steam Early Access, and despite being Early Access, I mean, it's pretty fleshed out, and I think it's pretty worth our time to check out, especially due to the fact that it has some pretty interesting, in-depth, and detailed gameplay here and there, and the general premise is that you sort of play as this car manufacturing company, an automobile company, and you effectively design, market, and manufacture vehicles, pretty much. So on one hand, I mean, yes, it's absolutely wonderfully detailed and in-depth in that respect, and it has a surprising amount of content for a early access title, but at the same time, unfortunately, the developers they haven't rather done anything with the player documentation here, so unfortunately the manual for this game is kind of outdated at this point, because they did do a private, or rather a own sort of distribution thing on their own site there for a bit of time. So with that said, I hope to just sort of give ourselves here an introduction to the game, really just to look into it for a while, and at the same time perhaps we could just sort of do a tutorial run as to set up, say, future players as to just sort of how to get into Gear City here and to play around with it, because it does have, say, a bit of a learning curve there. So anyhow, with that said, let's get started, and I'll make a game called Let's Play, and we will, actually I'll just add a number to it because why not? I think I already made a save file as that name. And well, as you can see here, the starting time period for the game, because it is a sandbox game, you can actually start at the very start of the 20th century, and I think the game effectively ends at 2020, so or rather 2020 or 2040, so it is a very, very long sandbox game. Actually, it runs off of a 12-month turns, so overall you'd be getting, say, like 1,400 some turns, something like that, there. Right, so we'll key in the settings. Let's begin at the very turn of the century, because mostly things are simplified there, and it's rather easier to start off like that. And I'll key in the difficulty as normal. The easy one is like really rather easy in my opinion, but the normal one and the hard difficulties just sort of bump up considerably, so yeah, we'll go with that. And that will lead us to this screen over here. So for the first bit of the game here, we really have three, say, priorities or mandatory tasks here. A, we want to pick a location for our company's headquarters, an initial factory and stuff like that. And going from there, we want to pick out, obviously, a company name and all that. And thirdly, we really want to build, say, a first vehicle. Looks like my house phone is going off, oh well. So two of the best locations for this game. Oh, and by the way, yeah, this game has like a pretty fully fleshed out, say, map here. You get, I think 170 some, or rather 270 some, various cities represented by these blips here, and you have the North American market, the European market, you know, various other different places here and there as well. And they also have this wonderfully detailed sort of info screen when you pull it up. As I was saying, like, two very easy spots to sort of get into the game with, rather good central spots to build your company up, is either New York City and London, UK. Those are sort of the two places that are really good. Now, unfortunately, the UK, obviously, because if you started the 20th century, or at the very beginning of the 20th century, well, at the 1930s start, the world wars do erupt, and that'll change the status, but that won't be for 14 years or so from here on out, so at least that's good. So, yeah, all of these stats over here are mainly related to, say, the population size over here, the labor rates, and overall the manufacturing sort of conditions. And I think I'll begin my company here in London. I'd assume that the states in New York is, say, maybe perhaps a slightly better option for a safer game. But from my test games, I've always done them in London, so I know this area slightly better. Right, so we will design our company name. I'll just set these up. I think I'll name our company YOLOCO just because. and we'll pick out a logo here and a set of AI players and just really begin. Really, I quite honestly, I don't really have any good names for our like vehicles and different engines and all that, so feel free to submit them inside the description below, because I will need to have quite a few of those in handy here. Now, a neat thing about this game is that it actually does have quite a robust, say, AI setting, in that I honestly don't know about its behavior, but you can have right around like more than 200 AI competitors running in the same sort of sandbox world with you. However, that takes a lot of processing power, and it does add some time to the turns. So I think we'll begin with a random 50 of them, and I'd say that that's already, say, a large amount, so let's just sort of key those values in and go from there. Right, so this is the game's overall like main menu, I suppose is something that you can call it as, and it is a really rather like sort of old school tycoon game in that it's sort of this virtual office space, and the things that you can sort of interact with are all highlighted here. So you have like an old gramophone type of thing that you can play music on. It's kind of neat. Right, so like I said, at this point, I mean, our task is to really just to design an initial vehicle to mass market. So let's do a few things. Let's start off that process by clicking this book here. This is the ledger. It'll tell us about sales information, revenues, contracts, and various different things. But the main thing is that we want to use its reports section over here, because this one is just absolutely wonderful. It'll give you all of the information about what you need. We want to check what types of cars are in demand, so we'll go to the European market here, click on body type demands, and that'll give us a list of effectively what is in, what is out, and this will of course change with time. Now, at the very turn of the century here, the main types of cars people evidently want inside Europe here are these microcars, these phaetons, and in general these sedans. So those are things that we will try to build. Usually, I mean, I try to build these phaetons, which are effectively just open top retro cars. Pretty sure everybody knows what I'm talking about, just slightly, but they don't really know the name of them. So yeah, those are kind of that. They're not really convertibles or anything, but we'll produce some of those. Actually, looking like these have a fair degree of variance to them, and it looks like inside this sort of generated world, sedans are actually in, so I think we'll try to go for those instead. Right, so now that we know what type of car body we want, what we can do here is that we can click on the door menu over here, and we can go to the R&D department, which will sort of jump us into this garage section over here, and from here we can effectively design the car and really go from there. So yeah, how you design a vehicle inside this game is that you effectively pick out the three modules for it, in that you pick out a chassis, an engine, a gearbox, and then you then sort of combine these three modules or categories of modules into one vehicle. And of course you can modify those types of modules, and you can actually buy them or contract them out to various different competitors as well. So that is one thing that we can do. Now, the game actually also offers you two ways to build these different modules. You can go with the advanced setting, where you sort of define the actual specifications of the module, or rather you can go with the assisted one, which will just sort of give you, say, a few sliders and a general sort of direction for the game to sort of pick out what you want. So for the sake of expediency, I think we'll go with the assisted type of things for the first bit here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to select our target vehicle type, and I think we wanted sedans, so we'll put that in, and that'll effectively give us a nice simple layout where we can choose either the size of the chassis, the design capacity, and our preferred sort of unit pricing here. So currently I just really need something that's good overall, so what I think I'll do here is I'll make it slightly on the smaller end, because we want to make some mass production vehicles at the very start of the game here. Something that's fairly cheap is the main thing. And overall, I think we will increase the design capacity over there so that the frame rate is exactly 100 kilograms. And overall, we'll get, as you can see here, I mean, we get the chassis name, which we can change, the completion date for the research, how much it costs to produce one of these chassis, and the design cost like that. So I think we'll go with this. We'll let it design. And then we'll go for engine and gearbox as well, and we'll just really design a car like that. And again, I mean, this mainly just sort of works on a system of sliders, and the game will just sort of pick out various different parts for us here. We can key in, say, I'm going to name this engine the 101. And yeah, pretty much it really just sort of goes off of that. And again, I think these are pretty reasonable stats, so I think we'll fire it off. This time we get a choice between the engine size, the engine power, and the unit pricing. These are actually all of the things that you can sort of fine-tune with various different variables inside the advanced editor, but for now we really just want to say pick a direction for us to head into, so we can just sort of use this tab to do exactly that. And again, for say the gearbox will do exactly the same thing, so we'll pick out, say, different things, let the game design it, and what this will do is that this will effectively queue up the research, and it looks like everything will be available in effectively 4 months. So we will then head back to the office here, and we'll just sort of let the game build those things, or rather design them, so that we can combine them into a vehicle here. Right, so how you sort of end turns is that you click on this grandfather clock inside your office. We want to advance the game by 4 months. As you can see here, the profit number for last month is in the top left corner of the map, and the date is inside the bottom left corner. So we want to skip here to the 5th, which is when the stuff for the 6th for the 4th month finishes. So those research things will complete, and then we effectively just want to go back to the R&D department, go to vehicle assisted, and we want to say build that sedan. So we'll click on that, and that will just sort of get that model really sort of built up. So we will call this the Model 1 here. And again, I mean, for the assisted sort of simplified design portions, it'll just effectively be based upon these sliders here, and we can choose various different things here and there about them. What I'm going to do right now is that I'm actually going to lower the manufacturing costs for this car, because again, we want to make a mass market sort of vehicle, and it's probably going to get, say, killed on the reviews, but it's not, say, a big priority to me, so we'll do that. The estimated unit cost is 661, which is good. And then we'll just go to design body. We'll select, say, how this works is that you may have noticed that on this side of the panel here, the drivability, the fuel, the performance, the dependability, and the cargo portions of your vehicle aren't finished when you key in these slider values. And this is because those things, to an extent, depend on the actual body shape of the car. And yeah, so this is a portion that of the design sort of process that actually matters inside the game. Essentially, effectively, how the car really looks. And what we effectively do here is that we pick a base model for the car we want to design, and from here we can just sort of deal with, say, where the different body parts of the cars are, and sort of where, or rather how the general body looks like here. So with that said, how this works is, again, most of the things inside the game will just sort of work on this slider set, this group of sliders, and as you change these different variables, different sort of things on the ratings side of the car will become influenced. Although unfortunately, this is one of the portions of the game where they don't, say, provide a ton of information about what individual parts do, but the general portions are just sort of what I'm aiming for. Namely, we want to give the car lots of cargo space, because that is something that these early cars usually gets they usually get killed on. So we'll put the maximum size for the trunk really to be that. Get a bumper in there for what I assume will be safety, make the engine part over here bigger, again, just sort of for safety. And, well, that'll be that, really, because for these early cars, as you can see here, there's not, say, too many options, but all of these things, of course, do factor into the actual specifications of the vehicle. Moving forwards, we also get to design, say, where the engine, where the wheels and the how big they are and the various different accessories of the cars are, and this is sort of a drag and drop system. So the main thing I'm doing here is that I'm just mirroring these accessories on both, say, sides of the vehicle, and we just really want to pluck these things down here, mirror them. I'm just going to go with the default tire size, because, say, it's not terribly important early inside the game, because, I mean, these are just the really crappy, like, early car wheels that are really, really bumpy in motion, so we'll put those on. Now, yeah, the headlights and the other things here also matter. So we will just add a set of headlights to the car. We'll add a set of mirrors over here. We'll, of course, oh, Steam pop-up decides to block that, but alright. We'll add a set of mirrors onto this car, some door handles, of course. And I think this thing will be good to go, actually. Looks like those door handles disappeared. There we go. Mirror them, finish them like that. And I think what we can do here is that we can also add another set onto the very back over here, because this looks like it's a sort of like a two-door, four-seater type of car, so we'll do that. And I think we also need, no, we already have mirrors. We need tail lights, that's what we need. And again, all of these things are really just sort of things to factor into the sort of ratings of the car. So we'll do that, size them down slightly, finish it like that, and we'll finish it. We can actually paint the car as well, but the painting at the moment is pretty basic, meaning that you can't paint, say, individual sections of the car. And because they come in as these like sort of white and black sort of models, what I can do here is that I can select, say, a very defining color, paint it like that, and it'll just apply it to everything. I mean, I can also do, say, things like leather and plastics if it's an open sort of car, or the glass color itself. But again, the painting is kind of limited in that you have to apply the color to one type of thing, not, say, one individual part here or there. So yeah, that's sort of that. We evidently have an extra taillight over here, so we'll delete those. And we'll just effectively finish the car like that, really, and we'll call this the Model 1 over here. Save it, and that'll effectively give us a set of these various different stats over here. So yeah, that'll pretty much be that, and really going from there, we can get our design teams to sort of design it from there, and they will have that in 6 months, so that'll be that. Right, so we just go back to the office, fast forward slightly, and then we can begin really marketing this car. So again, I mean, the first few cars you'll design are these sort of mass market, really rather, say, not too great vehicles, but the main thing here is making them affordable and easy to sell. So there we go, the research is complete. We've been taking monthly losses, obviously, because currently we haven't been really producing anything. We've been more or less just spending ludicrous amounts of money researching things. So that is sort of that, and it looks like we have 600 grand left. So going from here, what we can do now is we can start to market our car, and this is how you do it. There are two different ways here. We have a sort of an expedient way to do it, and a micromanagement sort of way to do it. I'll show you guys the micromanagement way to do it first, mostly because it's probably the thing that you'll use more so inside the early period here, when you only have 1 or 2 branches. So starting off, this will click on the globe, will open up this map for you here, and as you see here, this green dot represents one of our factories, and for now our HQ and branch. So this is where we have an office, a factory, and that office is obviously our HQ. So we have those things here. We have 5 production lines. I can click on this blip again to get the city information, and the main thing that you want to keep track of here is this population number and the population per capita number. The per capita number here is, well, in my opinion, it should be named average income yearly or something along those lines, because it's one of the things that you have to sort of base your income upon, or rather base your pricing upon. So what we can do here is that we can go to the factories tab, and here we can resize or close down a factory. But the thing that we want to do is we want to go to the production panel, and we want to queue up, say, or rather assign a few lines and some people to make a few of our vehicles. And yeah, this is effectively a matter of assigning lines and changing the production speed from, say, doing quality versus quantity. And I think we'll start off by making 50 vehicles monthly, so we'll have a slight sort of preference for quality, mainly due to the fact that these cars are probably going to be very low quality even just to begin with, and we'll just assign them to do that. So afterwards, that'll effectively get the production side of things running. And moving from there, we want to get the selling, or rather distributing things to work. So we'll go to the branch window, and this is effectively your office inside the town or city. And this branch or office effectively contacts the dealerships inside the the city, and they effectively just sort of relay vehicles like that. So currently it looks like our company here, because this is our only, say, branch, and thus by default it's our HQ, has 11 people, and they are in contact with one dealership. They have a rating of very little right now, and that's just because of the fact that we don't have a lot of people there. But as you can see here, the expenses monthly is still pretty expensive. What we can do now is, because we now have a production line going, we can go to distribution, we can check the model information, the type, a whole bunch of various different stats about our vehicle, our production vehicles, and namely we can add them to the list over here of selected vehicles.